Yeah. So what do we know about these players, Jesse? We've actually seen Matthew O'Connor on the stream already a number of times. But yeah, what do you know about Bob Linn?
Bob Linn, the turkey himself. Actually, he's prone to calling his opponents turkeys when they get too lucky against him. But yeah, Bob is a consummate gentleman, longtime expert. And let's look at Matthew's rack here. Actually, this is a really fun one. He's got the Q and the Z, which can. He's got Cat ZD. This could get really creative here. Matthew has shown a penchant for doing some pretty unorthodox plays. He could actually play ZD and try to set up the. No, he plays Cat off center to set up the Z and to punish. It also punishes overlaps of the T because if Bob plays his an I to the left of the T, then Matthew gets zit in response.
I mean, all to
But
the right of the I, all to the right of the T, you can have Tiz as well. So there's a few different things here. Although
right,
this
but
blocked it as much as you possibly could, but you can still play Zit and QI and Pat. Yeah,
right,
interesting.
he's not going to get rewarded. But I like
Yeah, the
Matthew
creativity.
has proven all day that he's a thinking player. He's not operating on autopilot. So that is already a fun wake up call.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no downside. You always put Cat in the middle of the board just because that's just reflexive. But um, he really thought that one through. Well, there's a small downside, which is that plays like Pub are going to score a few more points, but that 10 or 20% of the time that you actually get to play the Z for big points makes it worthwhile. And Zit right here, or Zin, um, he is going with Zit, which I agree with. I think the N is better with with those vowels. Zit is a very good consolation prize that he's very likely to get most of the time. So nice move.
Yeah, and the N also goes next to QI as well, which is definitely probably a swinging point there. Why you should keep the N instead of the T? Although Bob looks like he has bingos, he can play geishas and ZA and QIS, which will score a lot of points and also tripling the G and the H.
Yeah, in my experience, I played Bob many times, and he has, uh, I think he has deep but slightly inconsistent word knowledge. He's probably studied all the words at some point, and he can find anything. He's found some really beautiful stuff against me over time. Yeah, so don't underestimate his bingo power here. Hajira is a very nice score. Also, it's going to hook Za and Cheese. So I don't actually know if there's anything better, but that's going to be that's a strong option.
Yeah, that scores 91 points. Geisha's in that same spot scores how much is that? 90, 95. But there actually is one play that scores 96. And there's actually playing Geishas and Spat and Hut and AB to the left of Pub, which actually does score one extra point and probably keeps it a bit more defensively, maybe defensively better. But this move actually uses up the Q and the Z, easy to cash out those points. But once again, any bingo over 90 is going to be very strong here, and yeah, this is definitely one of the best plays here.
Yeah, nice start. Lots of what a potent lead. Lots of options there, and Matthew's not going to immediately be able to do all that much to respond. I doubt Matthew's going to get very perturbed. He seems, from what I can tell, he seemed pretty unflappable. Although he does, my favorite Matthew tick I've noticed so far is that he will do the slight t-shirt pull when things get especially intense. I've noticed that a couple times, like, whoo, things are heating up in here. But that aside, I think I don't think he's going to get too perturbed by his temporary bad rack. But what do you think his plan should be here? How does he get out of this jam?
So there's not really that many plays that he can actually just play on the board. I mean, he's got four A's, and there's no real easy way to actually play off those A's. He could just play AIA next to Higuera's, the H and the E. That's really the only thing he can do, but that opens the triple, and he scores 10 points, and he's still in a bad spot with the letters he's keeping. So I'm kind of tempted to potentially exchange here, and maybe exchange AAAIO, keeping AN. That looks to me, at least his rack will kind of be potentially in a much more workable state after this turn, and it looks like that's what he's actually doing. So I
Wow,
kind of like.
Austin Nostradamus Shin nails the exact exchange. I would
Oh,
have kept that I myself. I like AIN,
yeah,
especially with that G on the board.
yes, that's very good. Yeah, that's also a good option. Also, I think the only thing that's kind of maybe stopping me from keeping the eye is probably that the eye of Higuera's is actually already on the board. So I don't want to. If I want to try and hit a four timer there, I don't want to keep an extra eye. But again, I didn't really think about the ING possibility as well. But oh, actually, did he draw into a bingo? Is that jauncing? Is that a word? Or am I making that up?
Johnsing. Oh yeah, I was thinking Cajioning, but it's getting close to lunchtime, so that's probably what happened there. Yeah, Johnsing. Good
Oh
stuff.
boy! Wow. So wow, he picked out JIUNC and ends up potentially threatening a bingo here. And he also has the J for Jut next to pub. So the J also worked out very well.
Yeah, what is Bob going to do here? I see one option I like here is Cogue and Cut. That would be quite a lot of points and actually sets up the S on the bottom row. I think it's not necessarily the easiest thing to see, but I think that could be pretty potent.
Yes, I think that looks very strong. I think if you don't see Kogue, I mean, I think he would see it because he might end up seeing it through the G of Higuera's. Just naturally, just looking at those areas, you might see that word anyway, and then he might think a bit more deeply that he has Kogue on his rack and can play it next to pub. So yeah, I like the S setup here, allowing you to play the S on the future turn and hitting the triple hopefully. Um, Also, Kogi is also an option, but getting rid of the U is much better than the I. You could also even just play Kog and Pube. That's also an option as well. And potentially setting a bingo lane that way. And if he doesn't want to try and open up the triple, but it scores seven less. But he's actually playing Kogi instead. So that is, I guess that's a. I mean, I would probably say there's a slight misstep. I think
Oh my
getting rid
god!
of the.
And it sets up Johnsing for a cajillion
Oh
points.
yeah, it does set up Johnson for a four timer now. Even better.
Oh,
Wow.
that is just a cruel twist. I was going to
Yeah,
say if he were omniscient, he could play Kogi through the G at the top of the board and block Johnsing. But oh my goodness,
but he didn't play it.
no!
Uh oh.
Oh Matthew, you gotta. He rushed
Yeah,
that one big time.
didn't spend enough time on that. But also, he did have a good 2 or 3 minutes maybe to think about it whilst Bob was actually thinking of that. And the G was he's got two Gs to play through now. But yeah, I mean, he still manages to score 56 points with that. But yeah, it is not as many as the 900 and something points he would get with that four timer.
And Bob's got a blank here. Oh man, this is.
Wow.
And Bob, I think, sees illusory, which I don't believe
No,
plays
I don't think so.
anywhere. I think
No.
Youngers is. Am I imagining that? That sounds pretty. That sounds pretty like not like a word, but I think it's one of those that really is a word secretly.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But yeah, it looks like he has only playable bingos at the top of the board here. So Youngers is actually the one of three possible bingos he could play. So Youngers is there for 74. He has out hires. So the blank has a T through the H of Aguirre's for 76.
Wow.
And the best bingo here, the high scoring bingo, is through that G of Higuera's playing Rugosely, making the blank an L. So Rugosely, doubling the Y in the far right of the board here, doubling and opening the triple triple lane for 82 points. So we're going to
Yes.
see. if Bob actually manages to spot any of those bingos, he has a deep knowledge of the dictionary. But again, you said he missed Cog just now, and it can be a little bit spotty sometimes in terms of his knowledge on this. So we'll see if he ends up finding something.
Yeah, sometimes when you're driving a Lambo like Matthew O'Connor, you just kind of, you don't pay attention to things like stop signs or guardrails, or, you just kind of plow on through. So, that's, I suspect Matthew probably won't get too perturbed about missing Johnson for 122. I mean, he's only down 14 points. He's got a lot of game left. Also, I will say Bob can get into time trouble in my experience, and that could easily be part of Matthew's calculus that he's just gonna. I mean, we saw multiple games yesterday where even the best players in the world succumb to time pressure. So that it could very much be part of Matthew's game plan as well, where he's just going to push the clock on Bob whenever possible. I'm getting a little worried for Bob here. That let's see if he can track one of these bingos down.
So every single moment that passes, we're kind of losing faith that he's actually going to find a bingo here. Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't find a bingo here, then what does he play? I mean, he can play.
Right.
I mean, what are you going to do?
He could play YU for 23.
Well, you mean 21? I mean, next to Higuera's? Is that what you mean?
21, yes. One of those
Yes.
numbers
Yes.
with a 2 in it and an odd number.
Yes. But that would also give away a big spot for the triple just to the left of that, to the middle, top middle triple.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Just illustrating how dire it is if you can't bingo.
exactly. Yeah. So like the only other players he could play with like that are like OY in the same spot, or UEY. If you to try not to do too much or open up you can still open up the triple playing Rogi, Roguy, keeping ES blank, which again still opens it up. So there's lots of things that he can do here, but they're all going to do the same thing. But he's going to play Guy instead, so it's a bit more defensively minded. Getting rid of his two worst tiles, and pretty much almost any two tiles that he picks out, he's gonna be threatening something.
Yeah, we've seen Bob kind of signal also with Kogi, because I suspect he must have seen cut and Kogi as an option. We've seen him express some risk aversion here. So Guy is kind of that. It opens almost nothing. And I don't mind it as you really would like to bingo there, but given Matthew's dubious rack here, Bob's not going to be punished for this too badly.
Yeah, there's not many things that Matthew can do with this rack. And you can see he has three ends on his rack, so getting rid of two of those are going to be ideal in this case, and hopefully getting rid of a few other tiles as well. So it's a kind of more simpler options to play none above the Y of Guy, so NUN. Other things he can do that are a bit longer, he can play Enui. Is that how you pronounce it? You can tell me.
Ennui.
Ennui. Onto the E of Higueras. That would actually get rid of NNUI. Or you could play Unsini onto that I of Higuera's, keeping DN, which actually scores 16, which is not too bad at all. But he doesn't have
Wow.
which is only 10 points, and actually opens up the very dangerous spot for the triple here. But I think, again, making inferences on Bob's rack, he probably isn't holding anything too big, especially with the J, Q, and Z already out. I mean, already played, so probably not too much of a danger in this case. And don't forget that Undine also takes an N hook for Nundine, which he is holding
Yes.
anyway.
That's a pretty surprising play to me, playing for only 10 points there. But yeah, if you think that Bob is going to bingo, he's probably never blocking the I, and then you could bingo yourself hooking Nundine. Bob might not know the Nundine hook or see it. Like a lot of times, when you're the favorite against your opponent, you try to set up opportunities for yourself that you don't think your opponent will notice, because even if it takes a few turns for them to cash in, you could cash in for a lot eventually. So Undyne could be his own little Easter egg where he's setting up that Nundine spot, hoping to cash in on it, a couple turns down the road even. But Bob had better. I'm getting a little nervous here. Bob's got a few words like cirrose, and pubes or pubes, uh, which would be the Latinate plural of pubis. Um, pube was added relatively recently as a. Oh no, wait a second. We're talking about Collins. Never mind. Anyway,
Yes.
pretend I didn't say the word pube 10 times in the last minute. Beyond that, Bob, uh, he has things like oversee. Okay, he's going to play Roseate and Guys. That's fine
Yeah.
if volatile, given that it puts the E right there between the double letter score and triple word score. There's two such spots now. Sometimes it's better to have two of those spots than one, because at least you're going to cash one of them. But it is going to pay off handsomely for Matthew, because he's going to have Dexy for a lot, and it's going to get him out of a pretty rough jam that he was in. So he's happy to see that E there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, another thought here is that he has the X to play next to the A of Rosier. I mean, if he wants to play something like Dying through the Eye of Undine or something, just to keep the X. But I think Dexy here is pretty much the best play here. It's just scores so much. And you mentioned the word Cerise. That actually is the only bingo that would actually fit underneath Pube there. For 76 points, the highest scoring bingo playable. But yeah, there actually aren't that many other. I mean, apart from Cerise, Rosier, and you said Oversee, there are the only playable 7-letter words that could actually be played in that term. So we're
Still
seeing
got it.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing
Wow,
very
and
quick.
Bob plays it instantly. I've seen Bob do this before, where if he feels like he's getting low on clock, he'll respond by trying to unjam himself and play quickly. I don't know if that was the time to do it, because I actually think he had some other pretty good alternatives, but he just decides to cover the biggest hotspot on the board, that open I between the triple word score and the double letter score. He could have thought about things like wax or something to the X, or it may even be Fio or Wio, or however you pronounce it, might even be the best play. But I do
So,
wish he had looked
yeah.
around a little more.
Yeah, so War is actually pretty good underneath Undine, WHOA, which actually kind of does block the triple anyway, but he gets rid of another vowel, gets rid of another A, which you can see he's actually in a bit of trouble now, because he did pick out, he did pick out another A, so that actually would have scored 3 points fewer, but could have potentially caused a little bit less, fewer problems for this turn, getting rid of the A. But again, Weo is still a very strong play here, and Wax is also very strong as well. But yeah, I think trying to block that eye of Undine, probably the most obvious thing to do, I think.
Yeah, totally defensible. And the time pressure is real. The fact that he actually did get something down quickly is uh, that that's going to pay off for him. So that was uh, Matthew did not have an immediate response in mind. So it's a successful maneuver in that respect.
Yeah, it's
What
got a
do we
bit.
think?
Yeah, yeah, it's got a bit more time a bit more breathing time to kind of take in what he's about to do next. But yeah, Matthew's got some clunky tiles here. He's got a lot of constants that are not really too good for his rack. I think the T and the G are probably the worst tiles he has in terms of trying to bingo on the next turn. And don't forget, he still has that N for Nundine. So I think playing something like Sig or even Tig might be better here, unduplicating those T's. But I think Sig is also good. And Bob is insta playing Taxa. Interestingly, there, not even taking any time to turn the board around, just playing it straight away, and still keeping four vowels on his rack. What do you make of that?
Yeah, he's just in. He's got one mission. That is, he is not going to get rushed on time. And I think it kind of the way he's been playing. It's not illogical. I feel like he's just kind of identifying. Okay, this is the biggest spot on the board, and I got to put something there. Otherwise, my opponent's going to do it. And it's not working too badly for him with the last couple turns. I like it. Um, I uh, and he's actually drawn three consonants, so he may not even get punished for it at all. Ultimately, he might just get out of his vowel jam just totally without having to exchange or anything. And Matthew, on the other hand, I mean, it looks kind of like there should be a bingo in there, but I don't see one yet, and he's down 70 points, so
Yeah.
he's got to be getting a little agitated here. He really wants to. His plan is totally to bingo at that Nundine spot. Sig to me signals that he's really invested in hitting Nundine. I mean, that's why he played Undine in the first place. So, yeah, is he going to be content just to keep playing a couple tiles off and letting Bob just kind of skate on down the road, or I don't know that he can do much else, but it's got to be a little agonizing for him.
Yeah, and there's not really too many other places on the board to kind of bingo with, or bingo through. They're not that easy to bingo. But yeah, I think that maybe he just has to take another shot at bingoing here. Maybe playing something like ACT onto the C of Kogi, opening up other bingo lanes to the left of the A that would be there, or Acta, which would be another hook for Act. Just giving yourself another set of positions to try and play some kind of bingo. But yeah, without the S, it's not easy to bingo. You've got the D of Dexy, and possibly even the U of Undine as well. Otherwise, you're not really looking at many opportunities. There's kind of slim pickings here in terms of what you can do. So I feel like doing something like Act, getting rid of one of the T's, will probably help him a little bit. And obviously needing a little bit of luck to try and draw into something. But the only problem with Act is that any bingo around that will open up some kind of triple word square for Bob to kind of hit on the next turn. So it's not
It's
easy.
funny. Yeah,
It's not.
sorry. I was just gonna. I have to comment. There's been a lot of comments about Matthew's tiles being right side up or not right side up. I honestly don't notice, so it's fascinating to hear that people are so perturbed by this. It's just like we only get so many chances to express our individuality in this game. So, things like actually Matthew opened with his tiles vertically, which some people find equally offensive. People who open vertically are sometimes called verties in our game,
That's true.
uh, semi jokingly. So, let him live a little. If he wants to uh, be explore other orientations, that's fully on to him.
That's one way of putting it, I guess. Yeah, the biggest virtue of all, again, I'm going to put my penny in the jar right now. It is that Nigel is also a big verti. He opens the game every time vertically, just like what Matthew did in this game here. But
What do
yeah,
you think of Lot? Maybe. Oh, he's gonna blow up the rack. I like it actually.
keeping an eye. Okay, there's still four eyes on scene from his point of view. Oof. Okay, that's interesting. There's no blanks left to go for. There's two S's left from his point of view. But yeah, Leighton doesn't score that much. He's got 24 points. So I wonder
I
what
think
the
he just decided that he didn't want to get in a fishing expedition against
wow.
Bob. He must
Wow,
think
look
he
at
can
that.
catch up otherwise. So
He
yeah,
drew into simpler.
immediately rewarded.
Yeah, that's incredible. Drew into simpler and pubes. And yeah, obviously he got rid of that N for Nundine, so that's no longer a possibility for him. Um, but yeah, again, I'm going to wonder if Bob actually knows Nundine. It's not an easy word to know or even come across, but it looks like he's actually blocking that spot. So he's going to play Dira, I think, keeping UN. Wow,
And it
okay.
doesn't take S either. Continuing with the thread of conservatism, if you had played something like Donner, Dauner, then that would have taken an S.
Exactly, exactly. So this is definitely kind of showing you, or even Dina, Deaner, that takes an S as well. So yeah, definitely showing you right now what Bob has in mind. He is recognizing the situation. He is ahead and wants to stay ahead. Let's try and block the board up here. And obviously Matthew just picked up pretty much 6 random tiles. So you're kind of like, well, this is a good time for me to try and close down parts of the board. And um, playing 5 tiles ends up finishing the game a bit quicker as well. So yeah, I don't hate this move from that point of view. But yeah, Matthew has simpler on his rack, and he does actually have 2 playable bingos on the board right now, which are both 8-letter words, one through the O and one through the U of Undyne. So the O of Kogi and the U of Undyne. Only 2 playable bingos here, and we'll see if he ends up finding that or not.
Yeah, you can tell. There he goes, slump here. Very nice.
Yep,
That was
yeah,
actually quite
let's
important to
play
find. Implores gives back
a lot of
quite
points.
a bit. Yeah, it's 10 points fewer, and I guess it's
Exactly.
equally dangerous. But that's
Oh, it's a challenge.
+5. Add the
Plus five,
nickel.
yeah, 79 points. So he would actually go. He would improve to a well. He actually got to a 19-point advantage now, up to 302 to Bob's 283, with Bob to play next. So interesting move there. I mean, the S also does give away. Well, the S and the R both give away 2 triple word squares. So we'll see what Bob. I didn't actually catch what Bob actually had in his rack, but we'll see if he manages to cash in something big there.
Yeah, I think this whole sequence is a really great illustration of. This is actually a great learning for intermediate players. Sometimes when you go on these fishing expeditions, you feel like you kind of have to just keep going and going. But Matthew realized that the upside to fishing with his rack was pretty limited. What are they bantering about? I'm curious. Maybe Bob's calling him a turkey again.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them kind of. I saw somebody pointing at the bottom of the board, like maybe saying simpler was blocked down here. Um, but other than that, I don't really know what they were talking about. But and also another quick point as well about the time. Bob actually has been playing quickly for about 2 or 3 moves, and he's actually now got slightly more time than Matthew as of right now. So he shouldn't have any problems now with the time. Okay, so Bob's turning over his tile. I didn't see what he had earlier, but I don't think they were very good tiles. Okay.
Unless you like vowels,
Unless you
then
like Mars, then you have drawn very well. So yeah, what are his options here? Um,
the chat is calling out unvoice for through the sea for 34.
oh,
That's
yes.
potent. He's not going to do much better than that.
Yeah, the only move that comes close to that is invoice, but we know that the U, getting rid of the U here is better than getting rid of the I, even though you have 2 I's anyway. But he might just be looking at, oh, what's he doing? Maybe Ivies. He's looking at Ivies potentially. But yeah, those two, yeah, unvoice is way better than anything else other than invoice. Actually, the next
Oh,
best play
he's seen invoice. Very nice. Yeah. Oh, he's going to play it right
is
away.
invoice. So okay, interesting.
Oh,
Oh, no, we took it back. Undo. Just
Bob
undo
got
it.
us. I heard your keyboard typing sound. So, he's just going to play voice.
Okay. Okay. Only difference here is that obviously it scores fewer points and doesn't open the top left part of the board with the U or the I that would have been played in that double at the square. And also voice takes an R hook as well as the D and the S that unvoice or invoice would take. So another thing to just bear in mind. Does it has an added hook as well?
Yeah, we get a question in chat. Isn't voice better? So I would say INU and I are kind of. I would just call them both bad. And then in that case, you're just going to take the one that scores more points. So I would just take the 6 extra points for unvoice and just not really think about it too hard. The U is bad. INU is not great. It's a toss up. Take the points.
Yes, it's an extra 6 points, and yeah, the U is generally bad to keep hold of. Just in general, just a bad type to have. But there is, I will say, there is a standout play or a very cool play for Matthew right now. He could thread the eye of a needle and play needle down from the N of Undine. The first N of Undine, you can play needle, getting rid of 3 of those E's, actually all 3 E's that he has, keeping NO, for 30
What?
points.
Oh, on the right side. I thought you meant playing Nundine
Oh,
and
no, oh, no,
and
not.
then I was like, well, EP is for, extended play. I don't think LE not good, but I see what you're up to now. Yeah,
Yes, just
needle
from the.
making me PE id L re nice.
Yes, 30 points. I think is his highest scoring play, if you can see that. Actually, from his point of view, there are actually from his point of well, from a game point of view, those are the only 3 E's left in the game. So whether or not that's actually a good play or not, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. But there's still 23 tiles, or 16 tiles left in the bag, and the remaining 3 E's in this game are all on Matthew's rack, and he could play them all right now, which would make
Wait
it
a
very.
second. Something. Hold on. Very important. Bob's eye is gone. Not his
Oh,
eye of the thing he looks at things with. The letter I disappeared.
oh, oh, weird.
That's very important.
What happened? Yeah,
What?
because he did just play invoice on the board and then took it back up. So, um, yeah, that is weird. Not quite sure what
Eh,
happened there.
If Matthew plays Needle, also okay, he's going to play Needs. Yeah, I kind of like that. I was going to say Bob was about to score a giant K play for almost 50 points. So, oh, is someone intervening based on our commentary? That is, I don't know if I feel comfortable with having
They
influence
stopped the
that.
clock. They stopped the clock. I think they're looking around to see what just happened.
Matthew looks nonplussed, which I really can't blame him for because I don't. He's calling the director. I mean, I don't. Uh,
I mean, I think, yeah. Are we going to have the first ever strip search on stream?
my eyes.
I know. Quick, someone stand in the way. Quick. We need to put like a little screen here, and while the strip search happens. But yeah, very
Well,
interesting. Yeah, I mean, you guys in the chat noticed that, and he clearly doesn't. Oh, there's the eye. So I guess is that an overdraw or what happens now?
it's definitely an overdraw. Yeah. Wow. Sorry.
Okay, oh, it's an
I'm trying
overdraw.
to
Yeah.
compose myself over here. I've seen things I should never see. Wait, Matthew does a fist pump.
Wow. Just when you think you've almost seen it all in Scrabble, I don't think I've ever
Did he?
seen.
Did he get the
Uh,
K?
oh, let's see.
He
Yes, he
got the
did.
K.
Okay.
That's huge. That K was about to score a lot of points.
Yeah, there's a
And
big
the
spot.
rule here for the uninitiated is Matthew got to turn over 3 letters and then choose one of them to throw back. So he does not have complete knowledge of Bob's rack, but he now knows 2 of Bob's tiles, and he got to choose to throw the K back in the bag. That K was about to. No wonder he was celebrating. That K was about to score some big points. He was probably going to play something making voicer if I was gonna guess. And Bob's got a much harder decision on his hands here. He could play something like Inorb and Voicer and keep the U on his rack for what appears to be the 13th turn in a row. Uh, or, yeah, this is
Oh.
much harder.
Yeah, I mean, he would have things like Brink and Voicer otherwise if he had the K. But yeah, he's on the. I say he's on the brink because just a quick look at Matthew's rank. He has Noiliest onto the Eye of Slumpia, which I think is the only playable bingo from his point of view, but he's never going to go there. So now a play of Brink would have probably negated that bingo, but he doesn't have anything now to really score well with. It's now become very difficult for Bob, even though he's in a slight. Well, actually, he's actually slightly behind right now. He's actually 15 points behind because Needs is not currently on the scoreboard. It's actually 326 to Matthew, 311 to Bob. But yeah, that K could actually be a big turning point in this game.
What a wild sequence.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the one thing we should all be grateful for is that the tile was found without any removal of garments, because that would have been the day that we all got thrown off of Twitch and YouTube forever. So,
Well,
all's well that ends well.
That can be the late night version of the stream. You'd have to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying it. Then you might get things like that. Who knows?
There is no hot tub Scrabble, as far as I know.
There's no hot tub Scrabble here.
If there is hot tub Scrabble, I don't want to know about it.
Well, I don't know. It might depend on who's actually there, but I think on the whole, probably pass on that.
Wait a second. Was that a promise to your viewers?
No, not for me. I mean, I thought you were talking about this channel. I can't promise anything.
Okay.
I can't promise anything from this channel.
Oh, Brond. That's not a bad play.
It probably scores the most.
Brond is a brand or a sword. Interesting. Oh, wait. Did Bob pick it up and think about it? But anyway, oh yeah, immediate bingo in response. Whew.
Yeah, that's definitely a much better bingo than Noiliest's, scoring maybe almost 20 points more and not opening up another triple. So it. Oh, and look at what Bob just picked out. He kept UI and picked out pretty much 4 very, very bad tiles with that. And Matthew now has the K on his rack, which can score in multiple places here on this board. So above the Eye of the Toils, or the to the left of the O of Voicer for about 34 points or so. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be Matthew's game.
That K is actually like about as good of a letter on this board as any. The chat says that 2 Scrabble streamers recently just played Hot Tub Scrabble on Twitch. Well, there's information I didn't need. That content is out there for the people who need it for whatever reason. And I mean, Bob is in a lot of trouble here. Let's be honest with ourselves. He could play something like Phylum, Filum, to the M for 24 points, but IVW is not winning you any Scrabble games.
Yeah. So Phylum is 28, and actually, according to the engine, again, Jesse is correct in what the best play is by far the best play here. Actually, the second best play, according to the engine, statically, is actually to exchange everything apart from the L. So there's that, and then the next best play after that is actually, wait a minute, I need to type out this last move. Everything's been happening so quickly here. We're talking about, you distracted me with hot tub streams. I didn't even type out.
Yeah, I don't know if things have been going that quickly. I think just a little bit of distraction. Yeah.
Maybe my mind was getting distracted here.
Elsewhere. I mean, we have been commentating for close to 4 hours now, so
that is true.
The mind wanders.
That is true. But still, even with Toils on the board, and now Focus is going to play that's behind by almost 60 points. Phylum is still best. And If to the right of Slumpia, making PI, and If is actually the second best play, which is, again, hugely uninspiring with what he's going to be keeping with those tiles as well.
Yeah, and Matthew with a couple of shirt pulls, a nice play of Phylum, actually. Bob spots it. That's well done. A little too late, but that's a That's actually quite a solid spot.
There's actually no more
Um,
tiles left in the bag either, so that's actually it. So Entoil's actually emptied the bag with 7 in the bag. So Bob does have IVW. I know that he's kind of leaning forward there, but he has Wive to go out in 2 spots. So I think Matthew's just going to try and maximize his. Oh wait, I think Matthew is challenging Phylum.
Interesting. I mean, I guess a phylum, if you're a biology buff, then you have phylum Phylum. So maybe he thinks Bob just doesn't know how to spell his Greco-Latinate descended words, or he's just challenging because you should usually challenge if you're uncertain. It's only 5 points, people.
Yes, and Phylum doesn't take an ass either. Um, so I don't know. Does it have any? I don't know if it has anything to do with Filii, Filii. I don't know if that is related to it, but
There is no connection,
no connection.
Austin. I'm afraid.
Okay, so then it's just a standalone word, phylum. You just have to know through your study. Yeah, and he actually plays calf, blocking one of the spots for wive, getting rid of his 2 biggest tiles.
But view is going to go down here for 14. So that's actually a nice.
Oh yes, slightly,
Uh,
yeah, slightly more than
wait,
wive.
are the scores accurate?
Um,
Because if the scores are accurate, then Bob could actually catch. I assume it didn't get updated after
no, no, no.
calf.
Yeah, so calf has not been added to the score yet. Calf is 35, so the score is actually 438 to 379. There's a 60, almost 60 point deficit here.
Okay,
Uh,
I was about to lose my mind because the case of the missing points would have been even more dramatic than the case of the missing tile.
exactly, exactly. Also, filius is, I think, the word that is potentially related to phylum. Is that or filius and filii? I think. I don't know. I
Yes,
think that makes more
correct.
sense.
It's
Okay.
a Latin plural thing. One of the best ways to learn some Scrabble words is to go take some Latin because probably I would bet 10% of the words in the Scrabble dictionary are also Latin words, just unvarnished Latin words.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think view is the best play here by a long way.
Yeah,
Just going.
going out is usually going to be right in an endgame. There's rare. If you're wondering how do I play an endgame well, usually you want to go out if you can. If you can't go out, you want to set yourself up to go out next turn, and that's because
Okay.
when you go out, you get all the. Well, that is creative, Bob.
I think he is jokingly trying to play something that would score a lot of points.
But yeah, go
He may-
when you go out, you get points. Your opponent doesn't get to make another play, and you get double whatever's on their rack. So view is definitely the way to go,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's gonna do it.
yeah. So it's going to be 438 to 405, a 33 point game. Again, another close game we've been watching here on stream. Again, we've been watching the last 8 games on this channel, commentating for you guys out there, and none of them have been blowouts, as far as I remember. So we've had a very fortunate series of 8 games here on this channel with you watching this right now.
But yeah, I mean, we called Matthew O'Connor a Lamborghini the first time we casted him. At which point he immediately took all of the minutes on his clock. But I think having gotten to watch 3 of his games so far, uh, I think he's been wildly entertaining. So he's got the if he's not making all his plays at lightning speed, he's at least got the flashiness of a Lamborghini in terms of his consistent willingness to defy expectations. So apparently Matthew saw Johnson but was not sure of it. So that I
Yeah,
mean We can't forget, actually. I mean, Matthew really had to sweat this one out. He got some excellent draws near the end, but he was in a lot of trouble, and the Tau gods looked kindly on him at various points in time. And the reality is you're not gonna win tournaments if you don't get if the Tau fairies aren't at least cordial to you, if not uh, really showering you with generosity.